From here on, we will relate the events based on what we have learned from witnesses. The people who accompanied the Lord Captain on the tour of the dread ship. The shuttle started up one after another and dispersed, each heading for its selected target. An hour spent on cutting through the hull in the freezing vacuum of space, a fussy boarding. And then, finally, the rogue trader stepped onto the cold, dark deck of the dead ship. The light of the torches revealed a sign in the gloom, Fireborn. After a minute-long exchange with the Voxmaster, who quickly checked the archives, it was established that the dead vessel was that of Captain Nova Van Dane, registered at Kiava Gamma Port. Every minute spent on board threatening to end in disaster. The ship's days, or even hours of existence, were numbered. From all sides came the sounds of distance crumbling. The floor underfoot trembled every now and then. The Lord Captain hurriedly moved deeper into the compartment when he suddenly felt the slightest puff of air brush against his neck, followed by a soft sign, almost as if someone had leaned in close, opened their mouth to whisper a dark, tantalizing secret, and then fallen silent. The only thing was that the Lord Captain stood entirely alone. Let's see, we have willpower 50, lore of the warp is -10. So we can't do lore of the warp. Willpower it is. We succeeded. From here on, we will relate the events based on what we have learned from witnesses. The people who accompanied the Lord Captain on the tour of the dread ship were simple mortals would already be trembling and weeping. The rogue trader only gritted his teeth. Shrieks and moans could be heard close by. Others were gripped by the illusions too. Young Ho Shun, the unit captain, barked out orders. His team held back their comrades who have fallen victim to the uncanny terror and who were struggling to break free and run deeper into the cursed ship. A few minutes passed, and the unit, though scared senseless, was ready to continue. Sound suddenly blared from the Vox, which was tuned to the second unit's frequency. The words sound muffled, as though the person on the other end wasn't speaking directly into the Vox, but desperately pressing the transmit button while occupied with something else. Never seen anything like it. It's beautiful. Hold on, wait. Is it moving? The words are cut off by a strangled wheeze, followed by static. Young Ho-shun listened to the transmission and the final rasp with a surprisingly calm expression. Then pressed the Vox button and in a similarly calm voice let loose a stream of florid swearing, which centered on casting aspirations on his interlocutor's intellectual capabilities. There we go. Turning to the rogue trader, he remarked, "Apologies, Lord Captain. Captain Vesti from the second unit is well known for his pranks." That's a question, if he's just trying to keep everybody else calm by saying that. "Crap, the Lord Captain's with you?" comes Vesti's voice from the speakers, followed immediately by, "My sincerest apologies, your lordship. I just wanted to spook the guys a little." Ah, okay. So it was a bad joke. Let's see, we got three choices. Let's go with the report. Punishment. Yeah, let's go with number 1. It's he will get a slap on the wrist, but he needs to expedition completion. We'll do number 1. Captain Vester reported that his unit's foray had so far proceeded without incident, mystical or otherwise. They had found no survivors from the ship's crew, or bodies for that matter. However, the unit had encountered a problem. The passage leading to the deck section with the arsenal and the storage depot was seriously damaged, especially the power cables. Proceeding further would be dangerous. Let's try logic and see what happens. Logic 15. After consulting his officers, the Lord Captain issued new orders for Vestis unit. We succeeded. Vestis units headed off to carry out their orders, while the rogue trader and his team continued on. After spending several hours wandering down the dead passageways, Jung Ho's son's unit and the rogue trader reached the bridge of the Fireborn. The oppressive feeling had not dissipated. It was through the bulkheads of the ship were steeped in the terror and pain of the people who had vanished, without a trace from those decks. On their way there, the unit had found signs of a struggle. No signs of a struggle, or bodies of the crew. And that served only to deepen their unease. After examining the bridge, the scout unit discovered that the captain's principal cognitator was still functional. The final log entry was identified, damage picked, recording that no one in the unit was eager to view. Proximity to the cognitator alone was unsettling enough, and with each passing second, remaining on the bridge was becoming more and more difficult. Let's watch the recording here with willpower 50. We succeeded. The recording contained a message from the Captain Nova Van Dane. It was almost impossible to make anything out in the pict. Only the captain's hand gripping the edge of the table and flashes of iridescent light. The captain was speaking crisply, almost calmly, but there were also short, almost inaudible breaths. Exactly what the rogue traders team had encountered when they had first boarded the ship. The breath on the neck, yeah. And it even seemed that those sounds were coming not from the recording, but from the gloom-drenched corners of the bridge itself. Kiavagama has fallen. The Fireborn broke orbit under the fire from an unknown enemy and left the system, said Captain Von Dane on the recording. With the tone of an officer reporting to her superiors, we encountered pathological warp activity. The crew is reporting failures in the Geller field system. The ship is doomed. Whoever finds this recording, I ask you to hold a prayer service for our souls. I also ask you to take the family relics of the Van Dane line from Kiavagama. The relics are stored. The captain then specified the location of her family vault and the access code. The recording ended. There was nothing left to do on the cursed deck. It was time to return to the shuttle. A message came in from the unit led by seasoned unflappable Grey Matina. The captain methodically reported on all the service bay sections her team had already examined. They had found nothing of value, they had found no bodies, there had been no incidents, and the search was proceeding as normal. The unit was waiting for further instruction from the Lord Captain. So we can return to the shuttle, or we can do awareness 40. After distilling the salient points from the Grey Matina's exhaustive report, Svinto listened to the areas that warrant more thorough search. Okay, let's do awareness. We succeeded. After returning to the shuttle, Svinto received the reports about Fireborn's status. The tech priests who relentlessly pierced through the wreckage with the Augur's gaze insisted on curtailing the operation as soon as possible, fearing imminent destruction. There were also reports from other two units. The second unit has succeeded in moving through the danger zone and had returned to the shuttle with a valuable payload taken from the dead ship's stores. Grey Matina's unit has explored the service bay without incident and, not wasting any time, had marked value components for later disassembly and transferred to the rogue trader's ship. We got a bunch of items here and experience. We continue. The units assembled at the shuttles and the Lord Captain gave the final order of this grim expedition. Honor the memory of Captain Nova Van Dane and her crew. Recite a memorial prayer to the Omnissiah in honor of the ship. Fire upon the cursed ship from the long-range weapons batteries. Let's honor the memory of them. The last request has fallen. The last request of the fallen captain has been fulfilled. The improvised funeral began with a brief military salute, and the rogue trader himself recited a prayer for the souls of the Fireborn. Just as any honest servant of the Emperor who has dedicated their life to voyaging through the darkness would honor their fellows and mourn their deaths. Time was up. The scouting party returned to their ship. With one last look at the Fireborn, the rogue trader gave the order to fire upon the vessel at range, for that which was born in fire should also perish in fire. Nothing here. Let's go over there. The giant rings of this planet's surface can be observed even from orbit. Examine the rings. It has emerged that this planet has a native species of giant insect similar to Terran ants. Just like ants, they sometimes form so-called death spirals. in which one creature follows another without realizing they're going in circles. These were the rings discovered by the ship's observers. The strange phenomenon that was originally suspected to be a sign of warp activity or a nefarious Xenos structure turned out to be a quirk of nature, and a tragic one at that. Weird. So insectoid planet. Provisions. 3 provisions. How much provisions do we have? We have 15. That's pretty low. It's 3. You know what? We need to check on colony management. I haven't done that in a while. Rank 3. What's this? Profit factor. Blocks Crusade, blocks Shrine. Good tidings. Yeah, we have to do this one. Profit factor. We get a hammer. Guess we're reputation. I don't know. I think we're going with this one. Your Lordship, Janus is reporting about a disaster. Ghostly Xenos figures that appear at dusk and go away at dawn in a ravenous swarm. They attack one agricultural facility each night, freezing everything they touch. The attacks take place in the complexes closest to the uncontrolled sector of the planet, where nature itself has turned against us. Fortunately, not too many facilities were damaged. Our irreconcilable struggle has moved from the borders of the affected sector. The important production lines have survived. What do we know about these rates? Not much. They are incorporeal and difficult to discern, but they happen to have Aldari features. The spirits draw to the warmth of humans, plants, and inanimated objects. But it seems that they do not hunt consciously, but rather they simply do not notice anything in their way. At dawn, they dissolve into mist. The wraiths also differ among themselves. Some are as dark as the void, and others shine like the stars in the night sky. What is spawning these wraiths? Is it the corrupted sector? It is likely. They gather at its borders at the break of dawn and whirl into a wild dance. Howling and destroying all living things, then disperse into thousands of fading flashes. The agricultural facilities that happen to be in the way of their dance fall into despair. Failed my logic test. not brain too much. Without a doubt, the things you subjects saw were demons. Those twisted images drove their ignorant minds to insanity. What think my advisors? When dealing with Xenos, one should be prepared for the manifestations of all sorts of ominous mysteries. There is a whole castle of specialists among the cold traders who use rituals to expel spirits from Xeno artifacts. Perhaps we should ask these Xeno whisperers. Instead of relying on wicked ways to solve these problems, it would be better to turn to our good priests. They are skilled exorcists in the ecclesiarchy, special word, ecclesiarchy, who know how to drive out dark spirits. Okay, let's go with the priests. The priest will not leave their children in time of need. A group of haggard priests, dressed in holy robes and accompanied by a retinue of repentant flagellants, arrived on Janus, armed with scriptures and lasguns. They led their flock into battle against the inhuman wraiths. The wraiths did not disappear completely after the battle, but they have started to appear less often and avoid human settlements. It was a solution, at least. Seems like we have done all the building we can over here. Dragonis. People 2, efficiency up. So I don't know what good it will do. Xenotech. So it's only a reputation flaw. Lord Captain, the minds of Veabos 6 are once again in turmoil. At the depths of level MD Zeta 05, the overseas have discovered a mountain of mutilated bodies, seemingly crushed by the millstones of the mining machines. All the dead are convicts. The overseers believe that there is a cult of heretics operating in the ranks of prisoners, offering human sacrifices. The prisoners themselves claim that this atrocity was committed on the order of the warden to rid his prison of the more inconvenient inmates. The warden tried to reason with the raging mob, but was mauled to death instead. His defiled remains were found inside one of the cells where prisoners were beginning to torture. Where prisoners were being tortured during the investigation of the strange convicts. The overseers have managed to isolate the rebels inside the mining facilities, but an assault would result in high losses of workforce. On the other hand, the prisoners are ready to lay down their weapons, cease this violence, and repent if the rogue trader would only demonstrate some compassion towards their plight. Possibly by reforming some of the more severe punishments. So, who did kill the people found in the mines? That remains to be established. The riot has complicated the investigation. Perhaps it was the work of the warden after all. Or perhaps there is a cell of a cult of the Final Dawn operating among the prisoners. But the few pics of the corpses that the overseer managed to take contain an oddly, if one were to use their imagination. They could see a certain pattern in the scattered bodies. One that is vaguely similar to the one these inconvenient prisoners had been drawing. What think you, my officers and advisors? Shireen, if the governor and a pack of overseers cannot handle their duties, should they not take the place of their wards? And could there not be worthy administrators among those who oppose them? Those who could do better? A mob of commoners mauled a noble soul who was attempting to reason with them. How awful! Perhaps the underground madness has spread among them and assumed a new form, turning them into monsters in the process. It would be cruel to kill them. If this is the case, it is much more humane and well-intentioned to excise their brains in order to curb their ferocity and penchant for disobedience. My house did the same whenever the serfs rebelled in their ignorance, a rather merciful step. Holy crap. Punish the whole prison administration and send them to the mines. Then select new administrators for the prison population. The convicts have revolted against the unbearable actions of their guards. Order them to stop torturing the prisoners beyond reason. Shall I hope for House of Zero's aid in sharing their knowledge of brain excisions and how it should be applied to serfs? Exterminate all the scoundrels who dare to rebel against me. Conduct a thorough investigation. We must understand the prisoner's cause of death and track down the culprits. Okay, we'll do the investigation and hunt people down. To serve Viabos 6 and the von Valancius dynasty. Upon carefully inspecting the dead bodies of the convicts, the overseer concluded that they had not been killed by a human. No known weapon could have inflicted such wounds. The bodies were demonstrated to the convicts, and the riot died down as realization sank in that some unknown force was behind the murders. The investigation did not yield anything to help identify the party behind the murders that had sparked the riot. Level MD Zeta 05 has been sealed. Okay, so we don't know why or what happened. But we dealt with it. Blood sports. Let's see here. We can't do this one. We can do these two. We can buy this one as well. Efficiency plus steel. Security and people. We get chemicals. Five weapons. We only have 5 weapons. People. How much people do we have? We have 13 people. Chemicals and promethium. We have 8 chemicals. We'll do security.